let this thing count down a little bit because they be shutting me off. They be shutting the beginning of my video off. And because we live. Good afternoon, y'all. It is a heat wave in Philadelphia and it is hot as can be. And I'm trying not to fall out. So I'm staying in my lane. As you can tell from the title, this is going to be about drugs, prescription drugs, my introduction to prescription drugs. No, I've never done them, but my experience and how I found out about them was crazy, so I'm going to tell y'all. But first, I want to start with, let me show y'all this. Don't do drugs if you can't handle them. That's first and foremost. But look at this rolling tray, y'all. This is so cute. This is by an artist named Dita Montana. A black girl. I believe she's in Houston. But I love this. It reminds me of the 90s. And I think it's so cute. And she does like a lot of like abstract art like this. Check her out, honey. Y'all know how I feel about the black people. But anyway, let's get into the story. So I went to school for medical assistant, right? And at the end of whatever school or whatever program you go to, they usually make you do an externship. So I got sent to this externship, and I'm not going to say the doctor's name. I'm not going to say the office or where it's at or anything because I'm sure people know exactly who he is. But when it was time for me to go to my externship, they sent me to this doctor's office, black doctor. And when I got there, it was just kind of like, the people was real crazy. Now, this is every bit of maybe 12 years ago or more. Like, the place that I had went to, the patients was real crazy. And, the patients was real crazy and just real wild and crazy. And the place, it wasn't only a doctor's office, it was a physical therapy office. So, I'm working there. I was wondering what was up with the people, but it's just like, you know, whatever. Black people just be wildin', so I'm just like, whatever. But, as time goes on, I'm working there. I meet this Italian guy. So, I meet this Italian guy. Me and him goes on a date, right? Craziest date I've ever been on in my life. Like, we went to some Italian restaurant in South Philly. This man was putting his feet up on the table. He was shouting at the cooks. He was going behind the counter. I'm assuming that he knew these people. But anyway, so me and him was talking or whatever, and, you know, we got to talking about the clinic, because that's where I met him at. So we talking, having regular general conversation. And I happened to mention to him, like, the patients in the office are so, like, rambunctious and just crazy. So we starts talking about the doctor. So he says to me, Doctor, he sells drugs. Then it all dawned on me. I said, oh my God, this man is selling prescription drugs and giving people the drugs and putting them on the street. He flooding the block. Now it's all starting to make sense because the patients was real crazy. Like, they'll try to snatch your chart out their hand, their chart out your hand. Like, they was just real wild and crazy. It was always a fight in there or always somebody in there arguing, getting loud. And they would just be super pressed to see the doctor and, you know, want to meet up with him before, you know, his 30 days. Because when you get a prescription for those opiates, you have to what happened? You have to wait 30 days. Like, they can't prescribe them to you within a certain amount of time. So they would come in there saying, oh, it's the 26th day, or it's the such and such day. And I'm young at this point, so I didn't even realize, like, it didn't even dawn on me that's what was going on, because, like, I've been around people selling drugs, dealing drugs, doing drugs, but never prescription drugs. So that never crossed my mind. So, but this is where it gets crazy, because as soon as that white man told me that about the drugs, I was like, the people started getting even more crazier. And I don't know if they got crazier or if I was just able to see the fact that they was on drugs. But here's where it gets crazy. So it was around Christmas time. I'm at home. I get a phone call. I'm getting ready to go to my externship. I get a phone call. The receptionist, she tells me not to come in today. So I'm like, well, you know, what's going on? So she says, Dr. So-and-so got, you know, he was assaulted last night. And, you know, he's in the hospital and he's going to have reconstructive surgery. So I don't know how long, you know, he's going to be out or whatever. So we just close until further notice. Like, I'll let you know. So I'm like alarmed by that. I was like, oh my God, whatever. So I went to go see the doctor while he was in the hospital. And when I tell y'all, they beat this man up so bad. Like, his face was sitting out to here. Like, his face had a whole nother face on it when I seen him. And when they was like, oh, he got to have reconstructive surgery, I'm like, oh, I see it. I see why. But, so we, you know, they investigating the situation or whatever. And they was just like, you know, nobody took anything from him. He was coming out the back door of the office. And they just beat him down. Like, they just beat him down. They didn't take his briefcase. They didn't take his car. They didn't take his wallet. Nothing. So I'm like, oh man, this is starting to get a little dangerous. So, but at this point, I probably got maybe 4 or 5 more days left for my externship. So I'm like, I ain't got to be there that much longer. So it's whatever. So I sees the doctor and I'm just like, wow, this is really a thing. Like, you're really like a legal drug dealer. Like, I was blown away by the whole thing. And I also realized that I'm like, the medical field is just not for me. I can't do it. It's too many things going on in here that's outside of, that's like the street. It was too much like the street. And I was just like, I can't do this. Because it was the craziest thing in the world. And plus, again, I'm just realizing that, you know, people get hooked to prescription drugs and stuff like that. And then I'm on the inside and I'm seeing what people do. And then fast forward to, you know, he eventually reopened the place and, you know, they came back and I finished my externship and all of that. But, like, he had this girlfriend that he had working there, which I later on found out that she was on pills too. Fast forward to, allegedly, she OD'd. But let me go back to the doctor real quick, because they said that the doctor was kind of trying to get out of the street life and trying to stop doing what he was doing on the street. And when, I guess, whoever he was doing business with, they wasn't having it. It's like, no, you trying to cut me off from the prescriptions and it's Christmas time, it's the holidays. Like, nah, you won't catch this wreck. And they beat him up really, really, really bad. Like, and he's an older man, so they could have took him up out of here with that. But when I saw exactly how dangerous, like, and I've been around drug dealers, like real drug dealers, that things ain't get that treacherous being on the street. So I'm just like, yo, if they doing this in the doctor's office, this is not for me. I'm not this type of girl. What if they get raided? What if something happens and then, because, you know, the people that's on the lower level, like I was a medical assistant, and the people that's on the lower level, they usually have no clue what's going on until it be a sweep and you get locked up. And they also like it to be like that. So then when you do get locked up, you can't really tell anything because you don't really know anything. But for me, being street smart, I was like, oh no, this ain't the profession for me because I'm not getting swept up in somebody else's drug raid. But I don't know. It was rumblings of maybe he might have possibly did something to the girl. Now, I don't know how true that is. I don't know what transpired, but he really was trying to get out of that lifestyle. And I don't know what if he was willing to do to get it. But for me, that was crazy. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to stay away from the medical field. But another thing, too, was in these hospitals, I can't actually say, and one of them is not there no more, behind them. When I used to deal with guys that was in the street, I knew a guy, classy drug dealer. He wasn't like the hand-in-hand, corner boy or whatever, but we would go to Jefferson Hospital and we would go to Hahnemann Hospital, and them nurses, they was grabbing 8 balls. They was grabbing they was grabbing weight and taking it in the hospital and having a good time. So that's extra scary for me too, because I've seen what these nurses do. Like, y'all think they up and alert, but them hoes is really high. Like, I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. Them nurses, more than likely, them doctors, all of them, or that overnight shift, they be high as can be. Don't trust them, because you never know what's going to end up happening. And they just might be high out of their mind. But drugs is real big in the medical field, the illegal ones and the legal ones. And when I found that out, I was like, oh no, this ain't for me. Y'all won't be sweeping me up. Y'all won't be sweeping me up in the drug bus. Because I ain't got time. Because drugs could ruin your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody got time for that. Them people that used to come and get the 8 balls and everything, right? That wasn't a one-time thing. They was grabbing them drugs every weekend, every Friday, like clockwork. And, they wasn't getting nothing. They wasn't grabbing nothing small. So, But y'all better be careful out there, honey. Because you be thinking you out here doing the right thing. Like, when I went to school for medical assistant, I thought I was doing the right thing. I ended right back up, tangled up in some street stuff. Like, how do I get tangled up with a street doctor that's out here flooding the streets with pills? Like, I can't. There ain't no telling what he got going on by now. Or if he was able to get out. Hopefully he was able to get out, though. Because that was crazy, man. The way they beat that man to a bloody pulp, they could have killed him. And I was just lucky to get out. I was just like, let me finish my little thing. Let me finish my little externship so I can get up out of here. Then they was like, oh, we going to see if see about hiring you because you was real good and blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, I don't think, I'm not really right. Nope, y'all ain't got to worry about me coming back here. I would come back here willingly. No, ma'am. That ain't happening. But I had put up a video yesterday about drug addicts and about this bum asking me for money. And somebody got under the video and was like, Yeah, so you just want to destroy the community? Because I said if he would have just flat out said he wanted some crack, I probably would have gave him more money. And they like, yeah, you just going to willingly destroy the community? How do you destroy a community by giving somebody what they want? I literally was trying to give this man something to eat. He did not want that. He obviously wanted something that only money could buy. You cannot give a cheeseburger to the dope man. You cannot do that. So, I mean, what you expect? Like, yeah, if I end up, like, I don't like to personally, like, people that I know personally, and I know they have a vice, I don't really like to buy it. I don't like to supply other people's vice unless we doing the same thing at the same time and I just so happen to pay for it. The reason for that is because if it's somebody that I have a personal relationship with, if I buy you your last such and such and you fall out and die, then I'm going to be sitting here looking stupid like, dang, if I would have never bought. So that's the difference for me. Now, if somebody is out on the street and somebody is asking for something, like, why are you asking for food when you know you don't want food? Like, somebody can go to the store, or I could have ran across the street and went to a food cart and went and got him a tray of food, and that's not what he wanted. So at the end of the day, am I really helping that person? No. Why? Because they wanted crack. They didn't want food. So, and the other thing too is people act as if people getting on drugs and stuff like that is not a conscious decision. That is a choice, just like everything else that people do is a choice. Nobody comes up to you. The dope man don't come up to you and say, hey, I got this stuff. I think you should try it. It's really good. They don't do that. The people go to the dope man. So how is that the person that buys it, like in all actuality, if I give a crackhead my money, right? If I give a crackhead my money that I don't know, and I give them the money to buy the crack, right? That might stop them from stealing out of your house. Did you ever think about that? Because after a while, when the panhandling ain't working and the money ain't coming fast enough, they might just steal from you. Now, that's going to have an effect on somebody that you actually know, or you take something from your kids or something like that. That's going to have an effect on somebody that you actually know. So for me, helping you out to get it, I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong because I'm just helping you get what you want. How is that a problem? People try to blame people's choices on everybody else except for the person that is doing the action. Like, pay attention to what people do or how people is interested in stuff and how people get involved with certain things. Because a lot of drugs and stuff, especially, I hear a lot that women, like especially women, it'll be like, oh, a man, they was messing with this guy and the guy gave it to him. Or they was about to do something and they was nervous and so their girlfriend gave it to him. Or they was like, they always end up in a situation where somebody hands them something, they try it, they like it, and now they hooked on it and they do it for a while or for a couple years or however long it take them to get off of it. But at the end of the day, whose fault is that? Is it your fault for taking whatever it is that somebody gave you and not investigating? Or is it their fault, the person that gave it to you? I don't think it's the person that gave it to you fault, because you should have been strong enough to say, nah, I really don't need no enhancements to, get past this or do this. I'm a pass on that. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes people try to appease people, or people have different reasons why they go along with what their surroundings is doing. That's neither here nor there. But if you're going to be a follower and allow somebody to lead you down the path of being a crackhead, that's your fault, not mine. And it's no fault of the community. And it's no fault of the drug dealer either. Because the drug dealer, he's just an entrepreneur. He's providing a service for the people that want it. If nobody wanted it, he wouldn't be out there. So it's just a whole long line of things that you can, point the finger. Because I can get real technical with this whole drug thing and take it straight on down the line and trace it right on back to where it actually came from. But we're not going to get into all that because I ain't got all day. But being on drugs is a decision, just like I'm going to get up and go get a job today. That's a choice and a decision that people make. So stop pointing the finger at everybody other than yourself, because that just ain't working for me. And I just wanted to tell y'all my little story about prescription drugs, because I think had I not had that experience, well, I eventually would have found out about the whole, the whole pill thing. But seeing it from the inside out and how it goes on the inside, like how it goes on the doctor's end, that's a crazy lifestyle. And the fact that you would go to get all this education and training, right? Do all of this work, build this business for it to be illegal and you're black. Why you just ain't be a street corner boy drug dealer? Like, you didn't even have to go to school for that. But people be thinking that, if I go to school, I'm better than. Or if I create this image for myself, that I won't be viewed as a drug dealer or a corner boy. But to me, you're worse, because you got too much education for something like this to even cross your mind. But see, the thing about what money is, when people get addicted to money, and when people see things flowing and money coming in a way that they never expected, they get addicted to it. And then they just do it more and more and more. And some people end up not being able to cut that off. Some people end up not being able to stop it because it's a rush. And the rush literally don't stop until the cops come. But this is my opiate story. And I will never try it. But y'all be safe out there. And be aware of your surroundings and pay attention to, what people are doing. Because you paying attention to other people and paying attention to your surroundings can actually save your life. You ain't gotta listen to me. I'm just some random bitch on YouTube. But I'll see y'all in the next video.